Wyatt Thompson, and you're checking out adfreeshows.com. We greatly appreciate you being here. And of course, we're joined by the one, the only, the controversial Eric Bischoff. Eric, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm a little disappointed though. I think my controversy king crown is going to someone else. There's so much controversy going around in the world today that I'm having a hard time keeping up. But I am going to do my best. And this platform, this mean tweet idea that you came up with, may be the way for me to reclaim the crown that I rightfully deserve.
Yeah, we're trying a lot of new stuff here in November for adfreeshows.com. Of course, the biggest announcement we've had, maybe so far, is that we dug up. Well, that's probably the wrong thing to say. We found Jim Hurd, and we've dusted him off for a little interview, a retrospective, 20 years deep. But that's not what people really want, Eric. You and I have talked to a lot of our ad-free shows top guys, and they tell us one by one their favorite thing is Eric fires back. And this is sort of the next iteration of that, Eric. We're going to have you read mean tweets, and we're calling this episode Mean Tweet Receipts, and we're doing it on video. So lots of new stuff here happening at adfreeshows.com.
I'm so excited. I am thrilled to death to be here. I love this idea. You and I have been talking about it for some time. I tried to do one solo, several I tried to do solo, and they sucked so badly that I wouldn't even share them with anybody, including you, because they were just so horrible. But when you told me about this format, I went, wow, this could really be fun. This could work. So I went to bed early last night. You know, I got up early this morning. I started pounding caffeine about 6 o'clock this morning, and I'm ready for it, brother.
Well, let's get to it. I can't believe we're actually doing it. And this is a real thing. I'm going to read you a mean tweet that someone has sent your way, and then you're going to respond to it here on adfreeshows.com. Let's get going. Our very first one is from Rockboy JJ. He says, RIP, hashtag AEW. Eric Bischoff is somehow fuck up everything. He's a natural jinx, ... Honestly, we want women's matches, but this pissant is back on my screen. If this is a one-off, then fine. But if there's a deal in place, ... Basically a middle finger to a lot of people. Hashtag AEW Dynamite.
Well, Rock Boy, everybody, yourself included, is entitled to an opinion. The facts, however, seem to contradict your personal feelings. And I'm fine with the fact that you don't enjoy seeing me on the screen. That's fine. But, you know, to suggest that I quote unquote fuck up everything, I think is a reflection of the fact that you're a low information fan and that you fail to recognize that yours truly has probably done more to revitalize the entire industry of professional wrestling than anyone other than Vince McMahon himself. The fact that you're even talking about AEW and your apparent premature ejaculation of disdain for my single, now I've been on the show twice, I think probably says to me a lot more about what you really know about the industry. The fact is, AEW wouldn't be on TNT if it weren't for the success that I initiated, that I was a catalyst for back in the 90s, and that the WWE eventually, it took them a while, responded to, hence the Monday Night Wars and the success of what many people consider to be the golden era. If you look at my track record of successes, and yes, there were failures. Yes, there were shortcomings. No doubt about that. Any creator, any innovator, no matter in what walk of life, has experienced those same types of things. But when you look at the fact that AEW is a live 2-hour show, when you look at the fact that the anchor talent on that show, Chris Jericho, really made his name because I created the not so controversial cruiserweight division, which elevated Chris Jericho, and even to this day, AEW, to the heights and success that they're currently experiencing. if you fail to recognize that the reality that I brought into the wrestling format that literally changed the way wrestling was being presented, if you decide that you want to forget about all that and hang on to that mean-spirited, rather ignorant perspective that you have, well, what can I say? Go through life as best you can, but at the end of it, when you look back on your life and you realize just how miserable it's been, recognize in your last moments that it's because you have such a distorted, limited, and ignorant view of the world. And I'd like to see more women on wrestling too. I don't know what the fuck that has to do with me, by the way. Hey, you want to see more women on? I get it, man. I get it. A lot of people feel that way. But what exactly does that have to do with me? And I'm sure that Tony Khan and everybody else in AEW are relieved that, in your opinion, if my appearance when you wrote this tweet was a singular appearance, and that in your mind is okay. I'm sure there is just a profound sense of relief amongst everybody in AEW. In short, go fuck yourself.
I don't know how we can beat that.
We will. Trust me, we will. I am on jet fuel caffeine this morning, brother.
Haman Karn writes, it was aimed at you saying that Bish's involvement is a promising sign. Eric Bischoff was a genius for exactly 2 years, and everything he's done since as a booker has been absolute dog shit. Whether he's been given free reign or he's having to listen to a senile old man, it's bad.
I'm having a hard time responding to this incoherent train of thought. Haman Karn hands you a Gaza -C. I don't know. Your fucking handle is hard to even figure out. So everything subsequent to it is only worse. I was a genius for exactly 2 years. Exactly 2 years. I was a genius by creating a live 2-hour format that changed the industry together. I don't want to be repetitive and respond to in a similar fashion as I did to the previous nonsense, but there's a lot of parallels here. I'm not sure what senile old man I'm having to listen to. But look, I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of what I've accomplished as a creative person in the professional wrestling industry. I look back at it fondly, and many of the people that you're watching today, a lot of the programming that you're watching today is a result of not just 2 years of genius, but an extended, in fact, I think I'm going on 65 and a half years of genius. So Haman Karn hands you a Gaza, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. I don't know what else to say. I don't listen to anybody really, especially ignorant, illiterate emojis on Twitter. So, go on with your life, brother.
Or sister, whatever it is.
Or sister. Yeah, I have no idea.
Grape Cassidy, not Orange Cassidy, says, I don't know much about Eric Bischoff, but he seems like a tool whenever I see him speaking. And he also forced Mysterio to unmask. So fuck him.
Well, Grape. I mean, come on. How could you possibly take somebody who comes up with a Twitter handle of Grape Cassidy? That's very fucking original, Grape. You're right. You don't know much. In fact, you know nothing at all about me. And that's reflective in the comment that you made. He seems like such a tool whenever I see him speaking. Well, perhaps you missed my TED Talk, which was still being touted today as one of the most influential TED Talks that took place at that event that I was at a couple of years ago. Perhaps you haven't seen the success that we've created over 83 weeks. Perhaps you don't realize that my following on social media generally is very active, very supportive, and appreciative of the comments that I made. And yes, I forced Rey Mysterio to take off his mask. Oh my God, should I go to wrestling prison for that? Fuck you, Grape. Get a handle, get an imagination, come up with something better than this. It's really hard to respond to to comments like this because they just don't really make much sense. But whatever. Grape, go forward, prosper.
Virtue's up next. Eric Bischoff is a piece of shit scumbag con artist. Hope he fails and gets fired. He has enough money. Paul Heyman just needs to focus on hitting the gym, but I'm okay with his role.
Well, clearly this is an old tweet came out prior to me joining WWE again as the executive director of SmackDown. And yes, while that was not a successful run, one that I've taken responsibility for, I think in retrospect, if we look back at my short tenure of 4 months, and then we look at Paul Heyman, who lasted maybe about 6 or 8 months longer than I did, clearly your perspective on either my abilities or Heyman's is based on what you don't know, not on what you do know. A con artist, I don't know, I guess that's a subjective term and it could be thrown around, and especially to people that live on dirt sheets and live off the narrative, who are really too stupid, too lazy, or just too ignorant by nature to really do any kind of research or understand the business of the wrestling business or the industry as a whole. So Virtue, you're welcome to your opinion, my friend. It's dated, it's old, but I doubt that you've grown much as an individual. I'm sorry about that. I really hope that people learn and grow. It's a natural part of life for some people, clearly not for Virtue at No DQ, but whatever, man. And by the way, it's not that I've got a lot of money. In fact, I don't have nearly as much money as people think. But I'm very happy with my life and happy with the way I live it. I embrace every day as an opportunity. I'm a very positive person. Try it sometime. It may change the way you feel about yourself.
Up next, we've got Mr. Dooley. He says, if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff would still be selling meat from a truck in Minnesota.
Oh, God almighty. It's hard to respond to something that's so fucking stupid. Look, Mr. Dooley, you're kind of a stupid looking fuck as I look at your image there. Well, no, I mean, he is, with his hands clasped and looking all intellectual. That's a facade. This is clearly an idiot that we're responding to here on October 20th of 2019. First of all, I never sold meat from the back of a truck. It was a fucking promo, you jabroni. It was a promo. It never happened. There's a lot of things that are said during a promo and during a wrestling storyline that are there to create emotion. But the fact that Hulk Hogan said in a promo that I was selling meat out of the back of the truck is exactly that. It's fiction, much like Mr. Dooley and probably most anything that comes out of his mouth. Sorry, Mr. Dooley, just got to tell it like it is.
Shane at Get Your Rocks Off tweeted former WCW talent Daphne at Scream Queen Daff. There's a reason Eric Bischoff isn't employed by anyone at this point. ... Hashtag awful human being. No one wanted to work for him, because he's a real hashtag jack off.
It's interesting that a guy by the name of Shane at Get Your Rocks Off is describing me as a jack off. Do you see the connection there? This is a guy that just spends way too much time jerking it and fantasizing about the fact that he knows or understands something about the industry that he clearly doesn't know or understand. So Shane, I would suggest that you listen to yourself, look, get your rocks off, jerk yourself off, believing whatever it is you want to believe. I am unemployable to a large degree simply because it's hard for people to keep up with me. It really is. But I've learned to live with that, and I'm fine with it.
I think you're doing a fine job.
Well, I try.
OT Pod Jilly Beans, hashtag cross cult, which is at Jill Steet 05. That's a hell of a name. Tweets out, who does Eric Bischoff think he is? Calling Bret Hart a whiny bitch.
My name is Eric Bischoff. I was born in Detroit, Michigan in 1955. I have a long and storied career in the entertainment industry, currently a producer on a project at Netflix that's going to be announced very soon, and quite successful in my own right. That's who I am. And Bret Hart is a whiny bitch. I'm sorry to say that. I really don't want to say that. But as much as I've tried to turn the other cheek and tried to take the high road, every time I turn around, if somebody puts a microphone in Bret Hart's face, he has nothing else to talk about. If he's not burying other people, and yes, being a whiny bitch, and I'm being kind. I'm editing myself in that commentary, by the way. I'm doing everything I can not to use other expletives because I don't want to reduce myself quite to that level yet. But look, facts are facts. Nobody forces Bret Hart to go out and criticize Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Bill Goldberg, Eric Bischoff. Fuck, he's even burying people. Seth Rollins. What the fuck? I mean, what does Seth Rollins ever do to Bret Hart? The fact is, nobody's ever done anything to Bret Hart. Bret Hart's fucked himself over so many different times, and he can't live with the fact that here is a fact. Here is a fact. All of you Bret Hart marks that are out there that believe every word he says and have so much empathy for Bret Hart because he is a whiny bitch, to solicit that empathy. That's how he's currently trying to keep himself relevant, right? Making everyone feel for him because he never reached the heights of success that he had for himself. He raised his own expectations to a level that they couldn't be achieved, at least not by him. The fact is, this is a fact. Go back, do your own research. I'm not here to do it for you, bitch. I'm telling you, from my perspective, based on what I've read and the research I've done, Bret Hart was one of the lowest drawing champions in WWE history. Not the lowest, one of the lowest. Now, there are already people in social media making excuses for him by saying things like, oh yeah, but WWE was in a downturn and wrestling was in a downturn at that time. Well, whose fault is that, Bret? They put the belt on you. They made you a champion. They put you on that WWE pedestal. And if you were half the talent you want everybody to think you are, if you were indeed the best there was, or the best there is, or the best there ever will be, or whatever horseshit you unfortunately believe, if you were all that, guess what? WWE wouldn't have been in a downturn, and you wouldn't be considered statistically and factually as one of the lowest rated champions or lowest performing champions in WWE history. So yes, Bret is a whiny bitch. I don't force him to say the whiny bitchy things that he does. He elects to position himself in such a way. All I can say is, Bret, whatever you need to do to get through the day, and cutie pie Jilly Beans at Jill Steen 05, whatever. If you're a fan of Bret Hart, good for you. Anybody that's a fan of Bret Hart, I don't blame you. Bret had a lot of great things about him. He was a great technical wrestler. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to elevate Bret in the eyes of the wrestling fans by virtue of pay-per-view buys and attendance and television ratings. You weren't enough, Bret, to pull WWE out of that low attendance, low buy rate downturn that people talk about. You couldn't get the job done. And if there was ever a great opportunity for someone who is the best there is, or the best there was, or the best there ever will be, to come in and save a company by virtue of your amazing talent and charisma, well, there's the problem. He had no charisma. He had the charisma of a ball sack. But it is what it is, Bret. Be grateful for the opportunity that you did have, and quit making excuses and blaming others for not becoming the legitimate hero that you really wanted to become. When people look back at the success of WWE and they think about guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena and The Undertaker and Hulk Hogan, guess who they won't be talking about? Bret Hart.
I don't know how we'll beat that one.
You said that a couple tweets ago,
and you're still doing it. And
I'm on a roll, brother. I am on a roll. We're going full out free for all here. I'm taking out all the guns. I got all kinds of ammunition stacked up on my desk. We're ready to go.
Plot, plan, strategize, organize, mobilize. Tweets out, or at Brian Alvarez. He tweets to Brian. The only thing dumber for AEW to do than bringing Eric Bischoff into their company would be to bring in Vince Russo.
This is really kind of funny. When was this? October 17th, 2019. So this was an old one too. I find it really interesting that at Golmo or whatever the fuck his name is, he's sniffing the jock of a jock sniffer. Imagine that. He's trying to gain favor with this little midget douchebag, Brian Alvarez, who's nothing but a clown. He is just a clown. I don't even want to go off on Brian Alvarez, but the fact that this guy's trying to get himself over with a guy who is nothing more than a jock sniffing sycophant of Dave Meltzer, I find this funny as hell. So thank you. You brighten my day. You put a smile on my face, and I appreciate it very much.
Next up, it's Gregory9, hashtag never again. His handle is at Gregory9, and he tweeted to Tony Khan, Luchasaurus, and a lot of others. If there was ever a reason to not watch AEW Dynamite, that human dumpster fire Eric Bischoff is it. Why would you taint your show that way?
To make it entertaining, to gain ratings, to become more credible, and to help enhance the rest of the talent that was on the show with me. That's the reason why. That's how the wrestling business works. And the results of, especially the first effort, I think pointed that out. The ratings for the segment that I was in, and I don't like to talk about specific ratings or specific segments because there's so many variables involved in that. But if we have to quantify or qualify my success or lack thereof, I only point to my very first appearance in AEW and the ratings success that resulted from that, the tremendous amount of positive social commentary that I saw on social media as a result of it, I think probably flies in the face of Gregory9, hashtag never again, your opinion. But that's not unusual, is it? You're probably wrong about many things in life. Hey, do me a favor, Gregory9. Start listening to 83 Weeks. Enlighten yourself. Smarten yourself up. Go from being a low or no information wrestling fan to someone that has a basic understanding of how the wrestling world turns. You might just find a new way to enjoy the industry that you apparently are trying to be a fan of.
Next up, it's Anthony, parentheses, please wear a mask, at apope45. He writes, I blocked Eric Bischoff a long time ago. He's an asshole to the highest degree.
Well, if you're going to be an asshole, why would you not want to be an asshole to the highest degree? Clearly, I've made a fortune during the course of my career being that asshole, and I will continue to be one when it's appropriate and called for, whether it be on camera or in an environment like this. If you're going to be an asshole, Ken Anderson said it best, man. If you're going to be an asshole, be the best asshole you can be.
Truer words may have never been spoken. A pimp named Slickback at PettyWap33 writes, oh, fuck no. That MF Eric Bischoff is the last person I wanted to see on Dynamite. Hashtag AEW Dynamite.
You poor misguided soul. I appreciate it if you don't, if you're not a fan of mine or don't appreciate my work. That's cool with me. I'm never really been too interested in having a fan that identified himself as a pimp, but hey, whatever, you're welcome to your opinion. And if I was the last person you wanted to see on AEW, well, I understand that. That's cool. It's your opinion. Rest assured that my relationship with AEW is such as a one-off type of a relationship, and I may or may not ever show up on AEW again. And if I do, I'll do my best. I'll try to be as entertaining as I can be. And if that's not good enough for you, pimp, I don't know what to say. You've got a remote. You can pause it. You can go out, and grab a beer, or in your case, a Shirley Temple, perhaps, and take a little break. But I assure you, AEW is going to continue to be a strong, creative, dynamic property with or without me, or with or without you, bitch.
Ben Breeze Boys writes.
Bribois. You've got to throw some. Come
there you
on,
go.
man.
There you go.
It's
There you
been
go.
Bribois. By the way, can I tell you a little secret?
Please do.
When we first brought Chris Benoit into WCW, I thought his name was pronounced Benoit.
Yeah.
Oh God. So yeah, you got to get that French part of this thing down. It's Bribois.
There you go. With so many wrestlers struggling to find work right now, I'm glad that up and comer Eric Bischoff landed on his feet.
I will always land on my feet, brother. I'm like herpes. I never really go away. I just pop up when you least expect it.
That's great stuff. Mike at Italian Habs Mike writes, Bischoff is full of it. Early 1998 was the perfect time to put the WCW title on Brett, especially coming off Brett leaving the WWE after Survivor Series 97. It could have changed the Monday Night Wars, though WCW was winning every week at that time.
Yeah, well, you kind of made an ass out of yourself, so I don't really have to spend too much time trying to do it for you. Thank you very much, Mike, Italian Habs Mike. But let's just play with this for just a little bit. So the idea would be that I would bring in Bret Hart, scrap all of the plans that were in place at the highest levels, creatively speaking, solely so we could put the belt on Bret Hart and make Bret Hart the champion. That's a kind of a common denominator amongst so many of the diehard Bret Hart fans, and especially the ones that don't know fuck all about what they're talking about, as Mike clearly is a charter member of that group. It would not have bringing Bret Hart in and putting the world title on him would not have had. In fact, if it would have done anything, it would have hurt WCW. Bret Hart wasn't brought in to WCW to become the man. He was brought into WCW to become a man, a top guy. By the way, Bret Hart was initially brought in. The decision was made to bring in Bret Hart because of the addition of Thunder. And we were gearing up for the launch of that show, and we needed an anchor babyface that could anchor that show. Now, unfortunately, through no fault of my own, this was a result of the corporate merger and all the machinations of the financial decisions that were made prior to the merger by Turner Broadcasting to cut/hack budgets along the way. The plans for Thunder went down the toilet. But by that time, we had already brought in Bret Hart. Look, Bret Hart was brought in. I'm going to get very serious here for a second. Bringing Bret Hart in was a strategic decision, partially creative, but mostly strategic. And by that, I mean, in fact, I think it was George Washington who first coined the phrase in different terms of the time, but the best defense is a great offense. WWE was on the ropes. They were hauling the water coolers out of the building because they couldn't afford to have the company that was servicing said water coolers even put fucking water in them. And the idea of being able to take one of their anchor talents, even though he wasn't a very successful anchor talent, but nonetheless an anchor talent in Bret Hart, being able to bring him into WCW and having a pretty meaningful position for him in Thunder was as much of a strategic decision as it was a creative one. And you just have to learn to live with that. It is what it is. Those are the facts. Unfortunately, your fantasy booking based on absolutely no understanding, knowledge, or experience doesn't quite make a lot of sense had you been in a decision-making process at the time.
The thing that tickles me about this tweet, Eric, is he writes, it could have changed the Monday Night Wars, though WCW was winning every week at that time. You're damn right it could have changed. They could have started losing because when Brett was the champion on the other station, you were thumping that head pretty good.
I know it just doesn't make any sense, but that's the frustrating thing. And it doesn't make me angry. The truth, again, I'm being serious here. At this stage of my life, I do a personal inventory almost every day. And whenever I go to the how many fucks do I have left to give? You know, the inventory of fucks with which I have to give is really depleted at this point. So I'm very selective. I'm very selective about what I really engage with and what really gets me hot. And ignorant comments like this by people that clearly don't know what they're talking about certainly doesn't motivate me to tap into that depleted inventory of fucks with which I have to give.
Tremendous. Nicholas, N_Sank, SANK, tweets out, can we never be rid of Eric Bischoff?
No, you'll never be rid of me. Like I said a few moments ago, I'm like fucking herpes, man. You think it's gone away, and then bam, it's right there again. It never goes away. And you're welcome.
Brad tweets out, no one needed Eric Bischoff.
You clearly did, Brad, or you wouldn't have responded to this. Clearly, there's a deep, dark spot in your soul where you look up to me so much. You need that heel. You want that heel. You need that personality that changed the wrestling industry forever. You need him. And every once in a while, when he comes back into your life, you feel the need to respond to him. Well, Brad, I can assure you that I will be around for a long, long time. You're welcome.
Next up, Catherine Barbadoro, at Kath Barbadoro. I didn't watch WCW back in the day. Is this Eric Bischoff's plastic surgery face, or did he always look like this?
You know, I don't know how to take that, Kath Barbadoro. I'm looking at your image there, and clearly you're hiding your face. You got those big ass glasses on, and I don't know if that's, you know, trying to hide your Botox or your plastic surgery or whatever it is you may be doing. But I can assure you, I've never had any plastic surgery, nor do I intend to. And this face is 100% me, and it's served me very, very well, and will continue to do so until I decide it's no longer necessary.
Derriere Provocateur at the Thinking Mac 1 tweets out, Eric Bischoff ain't shit. Fuck this dude.
Derriere Provocateur wants to fuck me? Dude, I'm just not into it, man. If you are, that's on you. I don't judge. Whatever it is that you need to get your rocks off, or feel good about yourself, or have a relationship, go forth, prosper, be happy, dude. But no, you can't fuck me. I'm sorry.
Sarah Knight at Sunshine Sight tweets out, so Eric Bischoff really needs the money, eh? Hashtag AEW Dynamite.
Well, Sarah, I don't need the money, but I surely enjoy the money. And I'm not sure why that should be such a foreign concept to you, but you know, to each their own. I enjoy showing up on television from time to time. I enjoy performing, and yes, I enjoy the money that comes with it. I'm kind of trying to figure out what's wrong with that.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird message here. At Proto Mags, at Magzilla07 tweets out, fuck Eric Bischoff. This is the fucking worst. Fuck this. AEW Dynamite.
Wow. I think we should introduce Proto Mags to Derriere Provocateur, and these two could fuck each other. Clearly they have a lot in common. We should come up with an adfreeshows.com dating site. And these two, we could make a marriage here, because it looks like a chick. Is Proto Mags a chick? Magzilla07? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's a chick.
It's a chick. Well, she looks like she may need to meet Derriere Provocateur. You know, we should try to set that up.
The number of fucks in her tweet is only outnumbered by the number of exclamation points. That's pretty remarkable.
I know. Well, clearly this chick needs to get laid. That's apparent.
H-Beans at Hanaroni Heim tweets, Eric Bischoff Oh no! Please no! 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 No!
I'm sorry, but yes, 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 yes.
Eric, when you live rent free in people's head like this, and they take to Twitter, they're just going be bopping around their day, doing their regular thing, turn on some of their favorite programming, and something happens on their screen that makes them pull out their phone, fire up their Twitter machine, and type your name in all caps with exclamations and question marks. That has to bring a smile to your face, does it not?
It does. I remember, back in the 96, 97, 98 era, my kids were still in school. And I had a fair amount of heat back then. And one day our daughter, Montana, came home and she was a little concerned. And keep in mind, she had grown up with me being in the wrestling business. So it was kind of like, oh, that's what dad does. Just like, oh, dad's a telephone repairman, or, oh, dad works in a grocery store, whatever. It was just my job. Right. So they didn't think too much of it. Cause that's the way it was since they were very, very, very young. But one day my daughter came home and she was a little upset. She goes, Dad, so many people hate you. Does that make you feel bad? And I had to sit her down, much like we're doing here with H beings at Jaime, or whatever that is, Heim. I had to sit her down and explain to her that what her daddy does is an art form, creating emotion, creating that heat, being that bad guy is what allowed us to live the life we were living and travel the world, and allowed me to let her invite her friends to go, to Hawaii with us as a family, or to Disney World, and all the things that we were able to do as a result of the success that I enjoyed in professional wrestling. And to this day, I take special pride in knowing that heat that I created, that character that is out there, and as you said, is living in people's minds, is still so powerful. It is a testimony to the talent, the charisma, and the art which I brought to sports entertainment. And I'm so very fucking proud of it. And H Beans, thank you very much for reminding me just how powerful of a character not only I was back during the Monday Night Wars, but clearly, by virtue of the fact that this tweet is only 20 hours old, still am. You're welcome.
Biz at Biz316 says, Eric Bischoff sucks ass, and I would never take a picture with him, let alone post it on social media.
Well, you're right about the fact that you're never going to take a picture with me, douchebag. That's clear. And great, whatever, the fact that you feel the need to post that says a lot about me, the success that I've created, the character that I am, and the fact that you still hate me so much that you wouldn't want to take a picture with me. I very much appreciate it. You're speaking volumes to the power that my character still brings to the industry today.
Dan McClure, which is at Dan__ McClure, writes, happened upon Eric Bischoff's latest podcast. Is it called 83 weeks because that's how long it's been since Bischoff slept? Hashtag cocaine.
Well, that's kind of funny. I'm not going to suggest that I've never dabbled. That wouldn't be true. I can also tell you it's been decades. The 80s was an interesting time for me, as it was for many people. But no, I can assure you that the energy and everything else that I bring to the table, whether you enjoy it or not, is brought to you. Whoops. My cup just disappeared into my chroma key. is brought to you by nothing but high octane caffeine.
Spicy Star Candies at CA of Vinny writes, breaking, people say Eric Bischoff sucks.
Wow. That's really, really impressive. Spicy Star Candles at CY of Vinny. I don't know I don't know how long it took you to come up with that, but whatever it is you do for a living, find something else to do, because if anything that you do for a living requires any amount of imagination or creativity, find another job, please. For not just for me, for your family, please. Those that are around you. Oh, T-Bar, T-Bag. I love this one.
We're going to go out with a bang here on mean tweet receipts. T-Bar, a verified account at T-Bar Retribution, tweets out, I heard that at E Bischoff was very offended by my comments and took some shots at me. Unfortunately, nobody will ever hear his response because it took place on his podcast, #retribution.
I saw this and I think I responded to it. And T-Bag, the only thing I can say to you is you're wrong. I wasn't offended. I was humored. I was not offended. And I didn't really take any shots at you. Well, maybe I did. I am right now. But the fact is, T-Bag, you've got no heat with me. Zero. Same could be said for the audience of WWE. You ain't got no heat with anybody, bitch. And likely you never will. So let me take this opportunity to be the first to wish you the best in your future endeavors, because I predict 12 months from now, nobody's going to remember that you existed, T-Bag.
And folks, we do not talk about this ahead of time. Eric had no idea that slide was going to be in there until he just saw it. But you know what? Sometimes, you can tell by looking at me. I like going back for seconds. T-Bar tweeted out, thank you at E Bischoff. You're a huge inspiration for #retribution. We too aspire to one day destroy $1 billion wrestling company and bury it under fiery wreckage.
Well, this was T-Bag's actually first comment. It took place prior to the one that we just reacted to. And T-Bag, look, wherever you get your inspiration, however you get it, in whatever delusional fantasy world that you happen to live in, I'm glad, truly happy that I can provide you with some inspiration. Unfortunately, it's never going to be enough inspiration for you to get yourself over. In fact, I think we've seen over the last couple of weeks that you're being you're already in the background, bitch. You went from being kind of out in front of everything to he's kind of in the background. Let's put him back there with the potted plants, because this shit is not getting over. And T-Bag, I encourage you, stay inspired, find that inspiration wherever you can, however you can, because this is your one shot, dude. After this is over, and it will be very soon if it's not already, there is not going to be another shot for you, because you just don't have the talent. You just don't. Getting over, getting heat is such a talent that so few people have. And clearly it's a talent that, while you aspire to it, and why I may inspire you to have a fraction of the heat, not only that I had when I was at the peak of my career on camera, but I still have to this day. I hope that I can find another way to inspire you, because otherwise the fiery wreckage that you're referring to in your tweet will be that of your own short-lived career.
It's been a long time coming. I've wanted Eric to do this for a while. We finally figured out, as you saw us bumble through that, the technology that has been afforded our way to create this experience for you. I loved it, Eric. This is everything I hoped it would be. And I have a feeling that we're going to piss off enough people that we can do a round 2. So if you've got issues with Eric Bischoff, you don't like his character, you don't like our podcast, you don't like what we do, a friend of a friend of a friend told you about this because you couldn't rub 2 nickels together and pay for adfreeshows.com, send your tweets to @ebischoff, and you too could be ethered real soon here on the show. This was fun, Eric. Was this cathartic for you?
It is fun for me. I go through my daily life here. I live in a very peaceful environment, and I live by choice in solitude, surrounded by some of the most magnificent scenery in the world. I've got a beautiful wife of 37 years. We've been together almost 40. I've got a dog that I love so much. My kids are happy and they're healthy and they're successful. So things are going really, really well in my life in many respects. And every once in a while, I love kind of getting fired up. Shake me out of this comfort zone that I live in 24 hours a day that I'm so grateful for. And I get to engage with morons like this. It really does fire me up. It brings back that part of me that's been missing for so long. So yeah, bring those tweets on, but please, unlike so many of the ones that we read today, be a little creative. Try your best. Don't just come up with stupid shit. Come up with something good that we can sink our teeth into. Because there's nothing I love more than burying morons right here on adfreeshows.com.
And by the way, shout out to, I don't even know how I just noticed this. Shout out to Dave Silva, who created this wonderful mean tweet receipts graphic for us. It's got like a little, maybe you went out to lunch and they wrote a handwritten ticket, sort of old school. The check number up there in the top right-hand corner, Eric, that's the debut of Nitro, 09041995.
I'm telling you, Dave Silva is the secret sauce.
Yes, sir.
The rest of the podcasts under the Conrad Thompson Podcast Empire umbrella, Dave Silva sets the tone. Dave Silva inspires me to live up to the quality of the graphics that are designed to promote our shows. There's nothing that would make me feel like less of a person than to put in anything less than 110% effort to live up to the expectations that are created by the imagination, the creativity, and the talent of one Dave Silva, the graph master, as I refer to him.
One last thing before we get out of here. This suit we see in the graphic here you're wearing, is that out of the Vince McMahon collection, the Stanford collection last year?
That is definitely out of the Stanford collection. It was a custom made suit by a guy by the name of Joe. He just goes by Joe, Taylor Joe, right downtown Stamford, Connecticut. His little tailor shop was right behind the apartment building that we lived into, and he made really fine and very expensive suits. And yes, it is a custom suit that I had made by Joe, just so I could show up in the WWE headquarters building each and every day looking as dapper as Vince McMahon wanted us all to look. And I'm glad I have it. I've got a whole closet full of these things now. So whenever I get that, phone call to make an appearance, no matter where it is or who it's with, I no longer have to worry. I know I used to have to look at Lori and go, oh my God, I've got to go do TV. And again, I live in a place where you just can't run down the store and get a suit, right? Unless you want to dress up like a rodeo clown, it's really kind of hard in this part of the country. So I've got a whole closet full of $2,000 and $3,000 suits that are just sitting there waiting and ready for me to get that phone call and show up. Looking dapper as fuck, by the way. Really looking dapper. I look so good in that suit. I love that suit.
Yeah,
I don't even know what color that is. Is that like, it's kind of like a cranberry, I guess? Plum,
dude,
maybe?
I'll be honest. I'm colorblind. That shit looks navy blue to me.
Dude, you are colorblind. I would say it would probably be classified as a plum color or perhaps cranberry. But yes, it's a fine suit. I still have it. And I look forward to wearing it again someday, as long as it's not in Stamford, Connecticut.
Well, maybe next week we'll, or next time, because we won't be doing this every week, but next time we do a mean tweet receipts, maybe we'll have to make you wear all black, because, you've been burying motherfuckers left and right today. Seems like it's appropriate for a funeral, huh?
Yeah, maybe I'll get like one of those, wear a little hood and carry a sickle like the Grim fucking Reaper, like the guy that comes to you, right before you die and points a finger at you and goes, maybe that's what I'll do. That's what I should be wearing tonight for the Halloween party. I didn't even think of that. You know what? I don't even have a costume yet. You believe that?
You told me earlier in the week you were making like a homemade one. You haven't.
Well, I will as a last resort, and I don't want to give away what I'm thinking about doing. And I can do that. I can make that outfit or that costume if I need to. But the idea that I have would make it really hard for me to talk, and would make it hard for the audience to hear me through that particular costume. So I'm having some second thoughts, but I've got a plan B. I talked to Lauren Yaffe this morning. We touched base on what we're going to do tonight. And by the way, I love her. She's great. She's so great. She brings a smile to my face, just talking to her over the phone. Sweet person and talented as well. But she was saying, "Oh, Eric, I wanted to kind of walk you through what we're going to do tonight before I promoted it because I couldn't get a hold of her yesterday. I was a little busy yesterday." She just went ahead and promoted it. And when we talked this morning, she goes, "I hope you're not mad, but here's what I want to do." And I went, "Wow, that's one of the best ideas I've ever heard." And then I told her I still don't have a costume yet. So she was a little disappointed in me, but I'll come up with something. I'll try really hard.
Well, we're trying really hard for you guys here on adfreeshows.com. Hope you're digging what we're doing. We're going to continue to innovate and create. Bear with us as we're dialing in video. We think we've got audio licked, but we're working on creating more video for you. I hope in a year, Eric, we can turn this thing into an almost completely visual opportunity. So if you want to plop down on your couch and fire it up and watch it on the big screen, it's pretty easy to do that. And shows like this, it's one thing to hear you eviscerate someone. It's something else to see that happen.
I love that word, eviscerate.
Yeah. You
For
did.
those of you for most of you that sent the tweets in that we covered today, you'll have to look it up or Google it, because you probably don't have the capacity to expand your vocabulary enough to understand what that term means. But go ahead and Google it because we love eviscerate. Yeah, I love doing that.
Well, we'll be back very, very soon, I'm sure. If you guys have some comments that you want responded to, it's at eBischoff. I'm at Hey, it's Conrad, and we are out of time. Thanks for all you do, and thanks for supporting us here on adfreeshows.com.